Hello, welcome back to another PSHCE lesson this week. Today we're going to be thinking about what it means to be safe. So, what do you think it means to be safe? Pause this video for a moment and have a think to yourself. If you're safe, what does that mean for you? I think that being safe means that you're relatively happy and comfortable in your surroundings. So hopefully at home right now you're feeling quite safe. When you're at school, I hope that you also feel quite safe or know what to do if you're not feeling safe. How do you think it might feel if you don't feel safe? It might make you feel quite sick. It might also give you sweaty palms. Sometimes when you feel a little bit nervous or a little bit unsafe, it can make you sweat. It might also make your heart beat faster. Your body responds to stress in different ways, but that's important to remember. Not everybody responds to stress in the same way. So somebody might feel unsafe and feel a certain way, you might feel unsafe and feel another way. But it's very important to know that if you don't feel safe, there are things that you can do about it. I'm going to show you some situations now. For each of these situations, I think there's something you could do and somebody you should ask to get help. I'm going to read each of the situations for you. Once I've read them, you're going to pause the video and have a think about who you would tell about each situation. Afterwards, we'll discuss what you should do. Number 1 says, you're in the kitchen and a pan of milk boils over. What would you do? Number 2, you're trying to cross the road on the way to school. Number 3, you're playing football at school and the ball lands on the playground roof. Who would you get to help? Number 4, you are lost in a busy shopping centre. Who would you ask to help? And number 5, you see someone fall off their bike and get injured so badly that they can't get up. Pause the video now, have a look at each of the statements and decide who would you get to help. Okay, let's think about the first statement. The first one said that you're in the kitchen and a pan of milk boils over. Now I'm hoping that if you're in the house by yourself, there wouldn't be anything boiling, would there? If there was somebody in the house, I think you'd need to go and tell that person straight away. It should be an adult or somebody who's taking care of you aged 16 years or older. That person will then need to move the pan off of the heat so that it stops boiling over. If there's nobody in the house with you and there's something boiling, you need to call for help. Number 2, you're trying to cross the road on the way to school. Now if you're by yourself walking to school, if you're in year 5 or 6, then you would need to take care of yourself, but there might be people around who could help you. Somebody who might be able to help is somebody like a crossing guard, somebody who helps people to cross the road on their way to school. Number 3, you're playing football at school and the ball lands on the playground roof. Now, if the roof was quite low, you might be tempted to reach up and grab it yourself, but you shouldn't do that, because if you do that, you could be putting yourself or other people in danger. The best thing to do is to tell one of the lunchtime supervisors and they can see if they can get it down. If they can't get it down, they might have to tell the caretaker and he'll have to get it down or she'll have to get it down later. Number 4, you are lost in a busy shopping centre. That's a tough one. If you get lost in a shopping centre, it can feel quite overwhelming. It can feel like you don't think you're ever going to find the person who's looking after you again, but that's not the case. All you need to do is find somebody in a uniform who you can trust. For example, you could go into one of the local shops, check that somebody's got a uniform on and mention that you've lost the person who's looking after you. That person can then help you to find somebody else. It might be tempted just to go to any adult, but we can't always trust all adults. So if you go to somebody who's wearing a uniform who works in a shop, or somebody like a police officer, then they'll be able to help you straight away. And the last one, you see somebody fall off their bike and get it so injured so badly that they can't get up. Now if you see that in a situation, you need to call for emergency help straight away. There could be somebody nearby who can call for help, but if you were by yourself, then you would need to do something about it. In an emergency, we can do some things. Something we can do in an emergency, if there is danger, is we could phone 999. 999 is the emergency number which you'd phone to speak to any of the services that can help us. For example, the fire service, or the police, or maybe even ambulance. If it's an emergency, the person speaking to you will ask you what's happened, they'll ask you where you are and what emergency service you need. If they feel that it's an emergency, then they will send somebody to help you. The other place that you can get help from is a place called Childline, which we talked about before we broke up from school. Childline is there to help you if you're worried about something that's happening at home or something that's happening to you in your personal life anywhere else, such as school. Childline has got friendly people on the end of the phone who can speak to you about your problems, and if they feel that they need to help you with those problems, then they can refer it to somebody else. But the thing to remember is that if you're worried about something and they don't feel that it's an emergency, they will keep that information private. They won't tell anybody unless they absolutely need to. So don't feel like you have to keep it to yourself. They can be there to help you. For your second activity, I'd now like you to do a little bit of reflection. I'd like you to think or write down some ideas about what you can do to stay safe, as well as what you could do if you were feeling unsafe. You can choose to do this on your blog on DB Primary. You can choose to do it writing down on paper, drawing on paper, or in your homework books.